Let me take you back to the 2009 Premier League. Who are you thinking of when you think of Manchester United? Maybe Dimitar Berbatov, Wayne Rooney, Nani, Ji-sung Park. Any player in that fantastic later Sir Alex Ferguson squad was signed for a reason and sustained a legacy at Old Trafford. I was daydreaming recently and thought of a couple of former Red Devils that I hadn't thought about in years and who had one of the most fascinating journeys into English football. One of the game's few identical twin pairings that played for the same club, they would become cult heroes in the city of Manchester and a prime example of the power and reach of the United network during those Alex Ferguson glory years. This is the story of Rafael and Fabio da Silva. The identical twins were born on the 9th of July 1990 in Petrópolis, just outside Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. They grew up on a healthy diet of Brazilian five-a-side and amateur football in their neighbourhood, where their brothers were spotted and invited to train with Fluminense, a club in the country's top division. The pair began living in the club's accommodation from the age of 11, becoming a part of the academy and potential youth prospects. By complete chance in 2005, Manchester United's chief scout Les Kershaw was attending the Nike Premier Cup in Hong Kong. He was watching Fluminense's youth team when something, or rather someone, caught his eye. Not just one player but two. Rafael and Fabio da Silva, twin brothers, were tearing it up on the pitch. Kershaw was so impressed that he immediately called Sir Alex Ferguson and said, "There are twins here who are just unbelievable." Later, Kershaw would even say, "You didn't have to be a special scout to notice them." And unbeknownst to the pair, they had wowed one of the top clubs on the planet. So what made the Da Silva twins stand out so much? It wasn't just their skills. Kershaw was blown away by their mentality. He said the most impressive thing was how they'd get knocked down, but instantly get back up and keep playing. He literally described them as bouncing balls because they were so fast and resilient. But Manchester United weren't the only ones tracking these young stars. Arsenal and Real Madrid were also eyeing the twins, impressed by their endless energy and their technical abilities. It was a battle between Europe's biggest clubs to sign them. In the end though, Manchester United came out on top. The twins signed with the club in February 2007, but there was a catch. They couldn't be officially registered until their 18th birthdays in July 2008. So, the wait began. While Rafael eventually became United's first choice right back, Fabio had a much tougher time breaking into the starting 11. His two main obstacles? Injuries and the immovable Patrice Evra. Fabio also suffered from a series of injuries, muscle strains and more early in his time at Manchester United, which limited both his game time and his development. Meanwhile, Patrice Evra was still going strong at left back, meaning Fabio was mostly stuck on the bench. On the other side of the pitch, things were looking up for Rafael. Gary Neville had retired at the end of the 2010-11 season, leaving a spot open at right back, which Rafael quickly claimed as his own. But for Fabio, it was a different story. He just couldn't get past Evra, who was in his prime. One big highlight for Fabio, though, was starting in the 2011 Champions League final against Barcelona. Unfortunately for United, it didn't go as planned though. Just like in 2009, Barcelona's tiki-taka style proved too much for them. But still, playing in a Champions League final is a huge achievement. And you've got to imagine that silver medal from Wembley still holds a special place in Fabio's trophy cabinet. That 2010-11 season was actually Fabio's best in terms of appearances. He featured in 25 matches for United, just 3 fewer than his brother Rafael, who by that point had nailed down the right back spot. But while Rafael enjoyed a lot more playing time overall, finishing his United career with 3 Premier League titles, Fabio only managed to win 1. Then came the moment when the twins were separated for the first time in their careers. In the 2012-13 season, Fabio was loaned to Queen's Park Rangers. It was part of QPR's big push for success with a lot of high-profile signings, but unfortunately it didn't really work out. Fabio then left United permanently in 2014 to join Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Cardiff. Rafael, on the other hand, stayed at United for one more season. But in 2015, after Louis van Gaal took over as manager, he left for Lyon. Interestingly, Van Gaal didn't seem to have a lot of love for the Brazilian. Even after leaving Manchester United, Rafael remained a fan favourite. After Lyon beat Manchester City in the Champions League in 2018 at the Etihad, Rafael couldn't help but remind everyone where his heart was, saying, "I never lost here. Everyone knows I'm a Man United supporter." Meanwhile, Fabio spent 2 seasons with Cardiff in the Championship before making a move to France in 2018 to join Nantes, where he stayed for 4 years before returning to his home country to play for Gremio. As for Rafael, after 5 great seasons and nearly 150 appearances for Lyon, he moved to Istanbul Başakşehir in the summer of 2020, leaving behind yet another set of loyal fans. He too decided to return home, signing for Botafogo in 2021, where he still plays. The twins' relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson was and still is fantastic, having a playful dynamic and a sweetness that is still heartwarming to this day. Ferguson even had some fun with their identical looks. After Fabio was sent off in a 2011 match against Tottenham, Sir Alex joked, "I might put Rafael in there, they wouldn't even know the difference." Even though they looked the same, their careers turned out very differently. Ferguson also reportedly swapped Fabio and Rafael at many halftime intervals during their Man United careers in order to cheat a substitution, with the match officials not noticing that a change had been made, thus giving United a free sub. Overall, the Brazilian duo were and still are the embodiment of the Ferguson dynasty, picking out talent from nothing and turning them into gold dust. They sit amongst a legendary group of Reds, leaving the Theatre of Dreams with a boatload of trophies.